Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the next lesson. We continue with the little match girl. In the first video, I had read the story and mentioned what this chapter is all about. But just to give you a recap, let's just recall the story. This story is about a poor little girl trying to sell matches and earn some money on New Year's Eve. The whole world is merrymaking and preparing to welcome the new year. But she, who has a cruel father at home, cannot go home because she knows that he will beat her up. On this cold winter night, the girl, she walks barefoot, bareheaded through the streets. She creeps along, shivering and hungry. She is in a terrible state of misery. There are lights shining from every window. The smell of the roast goose in the air makes her feel hungry. She sits down in the corner between two houses, pulls her legs beneath herself, and tries to save them from the cold. Her little hands are numb. So, she who has matches with her, she lights these matches. When she lit her first matchstick, she sees a vision of an iron stove, which had fire inside it. So she stretches her arms, and when she stretches her feet, the iron stove it disappears. With a strike of the second match, she sees a table arranged for a dinner with roasted goose. The goose comes towards her, but as she stretches her hands towards it, it disappears. With the third matchstick, she sees a beautifully decorated Christmas tree. As she touches the beautiful lights on the Christmas tree, they rise up and become stars. And as she lights now her fourth matchstick, she sees the vision of her grandmother. The grandmother who was dead, but she loved her so much. She visualizes her dead and loving grandmother who looks more beautiful and majestic than ever before. She calls out to her granny and asks her to take her away with her. The granny obliges, and taking the child in her arms, she flies up and above. Both of them fly higher and higher, far away from the earth, away from the cold, the hunger, and fear. They fly to heaven to be with God. The next morning, on a New Year morning, people find the girl in that corner, frozen and dead. Death rescues her from misery, cold, and fear. We now go on to the justification of the title. The title, The Little Match Girl, evolves around the little match girl. The title is apt because the story revolves around this small, poor girl who tries to sell the matches and earn some money. She is desperate to find happiness and comfort. She feels miserable, sad, uncomfortable as she is unable to sell any of the matches. She knows she cannot go home as her father would beat her. She lights a match to warm her hands. She lights another match and sees the various visions. These visions offer her peace and happiness, which she would otherwise not have. When she is found dead the next day, she had a peaceful and serene look. theme of the story, the short story, The Little Match Girl, is all about poverty, hunger, and helplessness of the little girl who is sent to sell matches when she's supposed to stay at home, or maybe she should have been at school. When all the world was celebrating New Year's Eve, this little girl is deprived of the joy. Whatever the case may be, the author has shown us how sometimes death can be better than life on earth. The poor girl got nothing here in this life. All the visions she had seen in the light of the matches only reflected her unfulfilled wishes and dreams. She wished to enjoy some delicious food, to sit under a beautiful Christmas tree, and to have the company of a dear old grandmother. But it was not to be in her earthly life. She could only get those after death in heaven. So, the author has shown us how the little match girl suffered, how she was subjected to abuse and child poverty. The character sketch of the little match girl: endurance, silent suffering, uncomplaining surrender to the circumstances. She was able to tolerate her father's ruthless attitude, his behavior towards her. She had silent suffering of poverty, of hunger. She did not complain. Instead, she surrendered to the circumstances. The virtue that no one can teach except poverty. The little match girl, she was shivering with cold, she was hungry, she was tired, but she dared not go home because she had not sold a single matchbox. She was afraid that her father would beat her, so she sits huddled up in the corner, dreaming of all the good things of life which had been denied to her. Those things which she would have desired, those things she could not hope to get had she been awake. She finally dies, escaping from all the miseries of the world. I hope all of you have understood the lesson. We will be discussing this in our interactive class. There is an assignment that has been given to you. I would like each of you to do this assignment before we have the interactive class so that we can discuss the answers to these questions. The answers are to be done in your literature notebook. Please go through the chapter carefully and keep your questions ready. Keep safe. Take care. Goodbye.